everyone. This is Jacquelyn E from BSEd Social Studies 2, your reporter for today. Today I will discuss the Convention on the Rights of the Child, UNESCO, and EFA. Objectives. At the end of this discussion, students should be able to discuss Convention on the Rights of the Child, UNESCO, and EFA. Discover the history of EFA. Determine the principles of Convention on the Rights of the Child, UNESCO, and EFA. So what is Convention on the Rights of the Child? In 1989, something incredible happened. Against the backdrop of a changing world, order leaders came together and made a historic commitment to the world's children. They made a promise to every child to protect and fulfill their rights. By adopting an international legal framework, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. The convention is most widely ratified human rights treaty in history. It has inspired governments to change laws and policies and make investments so that more children finally get the healthcare and nutrition they need to survive and develop. And there are stronger safeguards in place to protect children from violence and exploitation. Central to this is the acknowledgement that every child has basic fundamental rights. These include the right to, first, non-discrimination. Governments must ensure that all children and young people enjoy their rights. No one should suffer discrimination. Second, best interest of child. When governments make decisions that affect children and young people, they must think about the best interest of children first. Third, the right to life, survival, and development. Fourth, the view of the child. Children and young people have the right to participate in all matters affecting them, and those views should be given due weight. In the Convention on the Rights of the Child, there are 4 categories. First, survival rights. Every child has inherent right to life, and the state has an obligation to ensure the child's survival and development. Second, development rights. These are the rights to the resources, skills, and contributions necessary for the full development of the child. Third, protection rights. These rights include protection from all forms of child abuse, neglect, exploitation, and cruelty, including the right to special protection in times of war and protection from abuse in the criminal justice system. Lastly, fourth, participation rights. Participation rights include the rights to express opinions and be heard, the right to information, and freedom of association. As you can see, here are the rights of the child. Now let's go to the UNESCO. So what is UNESCO? UNESCO, or the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, specialized agency of the United Nations that was outlined in a constitution signed November 16, 1945. The Constitution, which entered into force in 1946, called for the promotion of international collaboration in education, science, and culture. Why was UNESCO created? As early as 1942, in wartime, the governments of the European countries, which were confronting Nazi Germany and its allies, met in the United Kingdom for the Conference of Allied Ministers of Education, or CAME. The Second World War was far from over, yet those countries were looking for ways and means to reconstruct their systems of education once peace was restored. Very quickly, the project gained momentum and soon took on a universal note. The fundamental principles of UNESCO: non-discrimination, solidarity, equality of opportunity, and treatment, and universal access to education are enshrined in UNESCO's constitution. They underpin the right to education and provide the basis for organizations' legal action. Non-discrimination. Both UNESCO's Constitution and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948 embody the principle of non-discrimination. UNESCO adopted the Convention Against Discrimination in Education in 1960 as part of its mission to realize the ideal of equality of educational opportunity without regard to race, sex, or any distinctions, economic or social. Solidarity. In 2000, the global community affirmed that no country seriously committed to education for all be thwarted in their achievement of this goal by a lack of resources. Equality for opportunity and treatment. In the face of growing disparity, national-level action to create equal education opportunities for all is crucial, and measures taken by member states to implement the convention contribute to this process and enforce the right to education as fundamental human right. Universal access to education. The Education 2030 Agenda reiterates the importance of ensuring access to and completion of quality education for all children and youth and promoting lifelong opportunities for all. UNESCO has 195 member countries and it pursues its objective through 5 major programs. First, education, natural sciences, social and human sciences, culture and communication, and lastly, information. Projects sponsored by UNESCO include literacy, technical, and teacher training programs, which are international science programs, the promotion of independent media and freedom of press, regional and cultural history projects, the promotion of cultural diversity, translations of world literatures. Now, let's move on to our last topic, which is EFA. Do you know what is EFA? Participants endorsed an expanded vision of learning and pledged to universalize primary education and massively reduce illiteracy by the end of the decade 2005 to 2015. They identified 6 key educational goals which aim to meet the learning needs of all children, youth, and adults by 2015. 6 EFA goals. Goal 1. Expanding and improving comprehensively early childhood and education, especially for the most vulnerable and disadvantaged children. Goal 2, which is ensuring that by 2015, all children, particularly girls, children in difficult circumstances, and those belonging to ethnic minorities have access to and complete free and compulsory primary education of good quality. Goal 3, which is ensuring that the learning needs of all young people and adults are met through equitable access to appropriate learning and life skills programs. Goal 4, achieving a 50% improvements in levels of adult literacy by 2015, especially for women, and equitable access to basic and continuing education for all adults. Goal 5, which is eliminating gender disparities in primary and secondary education by 2005, and achieving gender equality in education by 2015, with a focus on ensuring girls full and equal access to and achievement in basic education of a good quality. Lastly, for Goal 6, which is improving all aspects of the quality of education and ensuring excellence of all so that it recognizes and measurable learning outcomes are achieved by all, especially in literacy, numeracy, and essential life skills. That's all for my report. Thank you and have a great day.